What if the dreams you dream aren't entirely your own? What if the fears you feel, the symbols you see, and the stories that stir something deep within you are not just personal? They are part of something much older, much deeper, and much more universal. There is a realm within you that echoes the voices of people you've never met, cultures you've never lived in, and stories you've never been told, yet somehow they feel familiar. You've seen the hero rise against impossible odds, the wise elder offering guidance, the shadowy figure lurking at the edge of consciousness. You see them in movies, in myths, in your own imagination, and somehow you recognize them. How is it that people across the globe, separated by time, language, and culture, dream of the same things? Why do symbols like snakes, circles, rivers, and fire show up in the stories of every civilization? How can an image of a tree or a labyrinth feel deeply meaningful, even if you don't know why? There is something beneath the surface of our individual minds, something we don't talk about in everyday conversation. Yet it shapes our relationships, our decisions, and our very sense of self. This invisible thread connects you to everyone who has come before and everyone who will come after. It's the part of you that knows what pain feels like, even when someone else is experiencing it. It's the part that weeps at a story you've never heard before, that feels at home in a place you've never been. Maybe we are not as separate as we think. Maybe what lies within us is not just personal, but profoundly shared. And maybe the most powerful truths about who we are come not from the surface, but from the depths. Throughout history, humans have been fascinated by the mystery of the mind. We often assume our thoughts, dreams, and emotions are purely personal, shaped only by our individual lives. But there's something deeper at work, something that transcends personal experience. Across continents and cultures, people who have never met or shared a language tell similar stories, similar dreams, and are drawn to the same ancient symbols. There is an unseen realm within the human psyche that seems to link us all, as though we are connected by threads we cannot see but instinctively feel. This connection hints at an inherited layer of consciousness, one not built from daily memories or life events, but passed down through generations. You don't need to be a historian or philosopher to notice it. It reveals itself in the way a child, without being taught, understands the nurturing role of a mother. It shows up in recurring dreams that follow familiar patterns, despite wildly different life circumstances. It emerges when someone in one part of the world instinctively fears the dark, or is drawn to the idea of the heroic journey. These shared experiences suggest that beneath the surface of our awareness lies something collective, an ancient psychological reservoir of ideas, images, and instincts that we all carry, whether we realize it or not. It's not just evident in myths or rituals. Look at art, literature, and religion. Symbols such as light and shadow, water and fire, birth and transformation appear over and over, often with similar meanings. These are not coincidences, they reflect a shared internal structure, a blueprint of the human experience. People may not consciously understand why they are drawn to a spiral, a circle, or a mountain, but these forms hold a deep resonance. Symbols, such as evidence in meeting, deep, they speak to something timeless and universal. Even in modern society, with all its distractions and divisions, this inner commonality persists. People still seek meaning through symbols, still feel a powerful pull towards stories that reflect universal themes of struggle, love, loss, and redemption. This is more than tradition. It is a living connection that unites past and present, east and west, individual and collective. It challenges the belief that we are isolated minds floating in separate bodies. Instead, it invites a new understanding that deep within each of us is a wellspring of ancient wisdom, one that links every human being across time and space in a shared psychological inheritance. In today's world, many people feel an overwhelming sense of isolation. Despite living in an age of constant communication where messages can be sent instantly and global news is just a tap away, there's a growing disconnection, both from others and from ourselves. People often describe feeling lost, out of place, or as if something essential is missing from their lives. They seek fulfillment in work, relationships, and achievement, yet the deeper questions remain unanswered. Who am I really? Why do I feel this way? What is the purpose of my struggles? These questions often linger beneath the surface, unspoken and unresolved. As life becomes more fast-paced and digitally driven, fewer people take the time to look inward. Emotions are managed, not understood. Dreams are dismissed as random noise. Ancient stories and symbols are viewed as relics of the past rather than meaningful reflections of the human experience. In this environment, inner conflict becomes harder to decode. People experience anxiety without clear causes, repeating patterns in relationships they can't explain, or a persistent sense that they are meant for something more, something they can't quite name. What makes this even more challenging is the way modern culture emphasizes individualism and logic. People are taught to rely solely on reason, to value productivity over introspection, and to ignore what can't be measured. As a result, the symbolic language of the unconscious mind is often ignored or forgotten. The shared patterns, images, and instincts that could guide us remain buried, leaving individuals to face life's challenges without the deeper wisdom that could offer direction. This disconnect also impacts how we see each other. Without awareness of our shared inner world, it's easy to believe our pain is unique, our fears are shameful, or our dreams are insignificant. This illusion of separation breeds misunderstanding and judgment both of ourselves and others. But what if these struggles are not signs of weakness or failure? What if they are echoes of a deeper story we all participate in, whether we realize it or not? The real challenge lies not just in facing life's difficulties, but in understanding the deeper meaning behind them. Until we recognize the shared psychological ground beneath our experiences, we remain trapped in the surface layers of thought and emotion, cut off from the deeper truths that connect us all. And in that disconnection, we continue to search outward for answers that can only be found within. Beneath the surface of our conscious thoughts lies a hidden layer of the mind that does not belong to any one individual alone. It is a shared foundation, a psychological inheritance woven from centuries of human experience. This inner realm contains symbols, patterns, and emotional truths that appear again and again across cultures and time. Whether it's the hero setting off on a journey, the wise elder offering guidance, or the dark figure representing fear and the unknown, these elements repeat not by coincidence, but because they reflect something universal within us all. Take a look at ancient myths, religious traditions, or even modern films and novels. Across all these narratives, familiar characters and situations emerge. They speak of love and betrayal, birth and death, transformation and sacrifice. These recurring themes don't simply entertain us. They resonate on a deep, almost instinctive level. The reason they feel meaningful is because they reflect internal structures within the human psyche. They speak to something that existed long before our personal experiences took shape. This is also why symbols have such power. A serpent, a circle, a flame, each holds meaning far beyond its physical form. Even people with no exposure to certain traditions may respond emotionally to these symbols. They may dream of falling, flying, or wandering through mazes without ever understanding why those images feel so real. It's as if the mind is communicating in a language older than words, using images that echo through the collective human spirit. Dreams, art, rituals, and even spontaneous thoughts can draw from this deeper well. A person may face a personal challenge and, without consciously realizing it, begin to act out a story that has been told 1,000 times before. They become the seeker, the warrior, the outcast, or the healer, living out patterns that reflect their inner evolution. These roles aren't assigned, they emerge naturally, revealing where someone is on their path through life. Recognizing this deeper structure brings a powerful shift in perspective. Life stops being just a series of random events and begins to look like a meaningful journey filled with symbolic guidance. Emotions that once seemed chaotic begin to make sense. Repeated life challenges become messages, not punishments. And the inner world, once silent and ignored, begins to speak quietly but with clarity. Exploring this inner realm allows us not only to understand ourselves better, but to feel a profound connection to the human story. A story we are all still writing together. There comes a moment when a person encounters something, perhaps in a dream, a piece of art, or an unexpected experience, that stirs a feeling too deep to explain. A vivid image appears. A child walking alone through a dark forest, a phoenix rising from flames, or a mirror that refuses to reflect. The moment strikes with unusual intensity. It doesn't matter whether it makes logical sense. It feels significant, like a message has been delivered from some place within. The heart beats faster. A memory is triggered, though it's not from this life. It's the recognition that transcends explanation. In that moment, something shifts. The person realizes they're not merely reacting to a personal story, but stepping into a shared narrative, one told through centuries in different forms, yet always carrying the same emotional truth. The boundaries between self and world blur. What once felt random begins to reveal a pattern. The fears that seemed irrational now point to buried truths. The dreams that were brushed off as nonsense begin to feel like guiding messages. Even past mistakes take on new meaning, as if they were chapters in a story that had to be lived to uncover its deeper purpose. This awakening brings with it a strange comfort. It's the realization that pain is not a private curse, but a path many have walked before. That longing, confusion, and transformation are not flaws, but necessary stages in the journey of becoming. It's the feeling of stepping into a vast, invisible current, and knowing you are not swimming alone. Others have been here, others will come after, and all are connected by the same inner landscape. Often this moment happens quietly, in solitude, during reflection, or after a period of struggle. But its effects are profound. Life is no longer just a set of events to survive. It becomes a meaningful process of awakening, a quest with inner symbols lighting the path. The individual sees themselves not as an isolated soul, but as part of a much larger human experience. In this realization, there is power. The same patterns that show up in myth, dream, and imagination begin to surface in daily life. Relationships, challenges, and decisions take on a new dimension. What was once invisible is now undeniable. The deeper self has spoken, and in hearing it, everything begins to change. As we look back at this hidden dimension within the human psyche, a profound truth begins to take shape. We are not as separate or disconnected as we have been led to believe. Beneath our personal stories, memories, and identities lies a deep reservoir of shared human experience. It influences our thoughts, shapes our dreams, and guides us through life in subtle but powerful ways. This realm speaks in symbols and patterns, echoing through myths, art, and imagination. It holds within it the archetypes and themes that unite all people, regardless of culture, language, or time period. The shared inner space offers more than just insight. It offers healing. When someone begins to see their struggles not as isolated events, but as part of a universal pattern, suffering transforms into understanding. Challenges become initiations. Emotional wounds become invitations to grow, to evolve, and to reconnect with something greater. In this light, fear becomes a signal to explore, not avoid. Darkness becomes the soil from which new awareness can bloom. Moreover, this deeper connection nurtures empathy, recognizing that others carry the same inner patterns, helps dissolve judgment. It becomes easier to understand the anger, fear, or confusion of someone else when we realize those same forces exist within ourselves. Suddenly, the stranger becomes familiar, their pain mirrors ours, their hopes echo our own. This shared humanity is the foundation for real compassion and unity. Living in alignment with this inner awareness doesn't require grand gestures. It starts with noticing a recurring dream, a symbol that stirs something deep inside, a story that speaks to your current life chapter. It involves listening to the whispers within and respecting the wisdom of your inner world. By doing so, life itself becomes more meaningful, decisions carry greater clarity, relationships deepen, and a quiet confidence grows, grounded in something ancient and eternal. In a world that often values the external over the internal, remembering this deeper layer is an act of restoration. It reconnects us not only with ourselves, but with all of humanity. The journey inward, towards this collective depth, is not one of separation, but of reunion. Through it, we remember who we are, not just as individuals, but as threads in the vast intricate fabric of human consciousness. And in that remembering, we find belonging. If this deeper dimension of shared human experience has stirred something in you, now is the time to listen. Don't let this awareness fade into the background of daily life. Instead, begin the journey inward with intention and curiosity. The first step is simple. Start paying attention. Look closely at your dreams, your thoughts, and the patterns that repeat in your life. What symbols keep showing up? What stories speak to your soul? These are not random. They are your inner world reaching out, offering insight and guidance. Keep a journal. Write down your dreams, emotions, and the images that appear in your imagination. You don't have to understand them right away. Just start collecting them. Over time, you'll begin to see threads connecting your experiences. Signs pointing to deeper meanings behind your choices, fears, and desires. These insights don't come all at once, but with patience they begin to reveal the shape of your personal mythology. Explore the old stories, myths, and folk tales from different cultures. You'll find yourself recognizing familiar characters and emotional journeys that reflect your own life in unexpected ways. These stories are like mirrors, showing us parts of ourselves we often overlook. They remind us that the path we walk has been walked before, and that wisdom is always available if we're willing to seek it. Spend time in reflection, disconnect from distractions, let silence speak, whether through meditation, nature walks, or quiet reading. Make space for your inner voice to emerge. The answers you're seeking may already be within you, waiting for your attention. Finally, share this journey with others. Have conversations that go beyond the surface. Ask deeper questions. Listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart. When we connect with others through our shared humanity, we begin to break the illusion of separation. We begin to heal, not just as individuals, but as a collective. You are not alone. You never have been. Every step you take toward understanding your inner world is also a step toward reconnecting with the world around you. Begin today. There is meaning beneath the surface, and it is waiting for you to discover it.